Hey everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is your new best friend. I'm very, very excited to welcome my guest, which I will do in a moment. But first, I must catch up with my producer, the bad boy of podcasting, also known as the most dangerous man in podcasting, Tony Thaxton. Tony, hello. How's it going?
It's going all right. I have a question for you. Well, first of all, hello to you as well.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, lay this question on me.
As a lifelong Southern California, I know you lived in New York for a while, but you know what
That's
I mean.
Right.
Born and raised Southern California.
Yes.
Are you one of these weirdos that's wrong that loves these gray days?
I was gonna say, Tony, we've been through this, but and this is insulting. I have not been through it with you. I've been through it with Todd, my co-host on Upworthy Weekly, but I think fondly of him. So in a way, my confusing you for him.
It does. I feel like it's come up before, but I couldn't remember for sure.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I have been through it. I'm trying to spin the fact that I can't remember who I've had conversations with, and to me, it's just all of you guys are kind of the same. That's actually a compliment when you think about it, really.
I take no offense to that.
Yeah,
I can't remember anything anymore, so
in the words of your friend, no offense, none taken. To which I said, hey, that's my call. I am the one who gets to decide whether I take offense or not. But anyway, we've been through this. I don't like the sun. I chose a beautiful spot in Santa Barbara area to get married. It was supposed to be overcast that day. And it was like unseasonably bright and 80 something degrees. And every single person's like, such a beautiful day, such a beautiful day. And I was like, not to me. And they keep insisting that it was a beautiful day. And on my tombstone, I want not to me, parentheses, it was a beautiful day. It'll make no sense to anyone, but I'm just saying I'm going to carry that to my grave. Alison Rosen, your new best friend. I look outside right now. It is overcast and gloomy, and I fucking love it.
Ugh.
Now, are you one of these people who insist that it's not a nice day today?
Yeah, I hate it. It literally, I feel tired all day long. I'm grumpy. Like, it truly affects me in a not positive way. And I think it really goes back to growing up in the Midwest, and because there's times of year when it's like this every day, and it's really depressing.
For me, it goes back to being a soft, pudgy indoor kid. And whenever there was weather like this, especially if it was drizzly, then it meant we could stay inside for recess and play scholastic games. And instead of having to run around and play soccer, we could stay inside the gym and do stations. Did you guys do stations?
I don't know.
Is this a common thing? They would set up sports equipment in different stations. So it'd be like hula hoops in a clump. Or they had these little things. I don't know if all school gyms had these. It was little plastic squares on tiny little luggage wheels almost. And I don't even know what you do on them. They were skateboards existed at the time.
I kind of know what you're talking about.
It almost was like things that you would move furniture on, but I don't even know what you'd push them. And so they have different stuff set up around the gym. But I mean, you did not break a sweat at all. And so you would just do different, play with the stuff. And then the coach would blow a whistle and then you'd move to the next station. Mm-hmm. And I just, all of this, I vastly preferred to actually having to go outside.
Yeah. It's almost not even an outside thing. Cause I'm not against I like going outside, but, I don't like a super hot day, but, half of it is really just looking out the window and not getting any of that sunlight, just puts me in a bad place.
You know how they have those seasonal affective disorder lamps that shine light at you and they're supposed to make you feel better? Mm-hmm. I need the opposite. I need something to shine fog at me and make me feel better because I feel energized when I look at this.
Oh, this is just making me angry is all to see. I told it grumpy.
You are filled with rage, Tony.
Yeah.
You need to get this under control.
Yeah, and I literally just came from a lunch with our past Thursday show guests from this week, Jonah and John Ross Bowie. Just had lunch with those guys, and it was great. It was nice to see those guys, but I felt like I was just quiet and just kind of like almost barely there, even though I love those guys.
Because of the weather. Did I come up? Was there a conversation about how fun the show was?
That was why the meeting was called. It was a lunch meeting to discuss. It was almost like one of those like after show things people do. Yeah,
just a delayed one.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I wasn't invited, probably because you wanted to discuss me. But
yeah, we didn't want to make you too self-conscious. So.
That's so nice. What's one of those meetings where the talent isn't invited, right?
Yeah, it's like, inside stuff that it's just more trouble if you're there. Like, we don't want to like get in your head, it's
No, I get it.
You get it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, tell them I say hi unless they have something negative to say about me, in which case tell them. And youtube.com/Alison Rosen, where you can see the expression I said to give them. It looks like this. It's just a little, there's a little bit of an edge in my face. Oh. Anyway, today is day 5 of me feeling less than 100%. Although it's of all the days I've been sick, I definitely feel better today.
That's good.
But this is day 5 of my, is it COVID? Is it not COVID? I haven't tested today. Day 5 seems to be the day that people get a positive. I'm afraid to test. I know I can't not test, but I will test today, but I just don't want to. I feel like I've made it this far. I'm starting to feel better. I don't want to get that positive, and so I'm just avoiding it. My kids have tested and they're negative, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot. But
yeah, and you don't go anywhere. I know you.
I don't go anywhere. That's right. So anyway, I'm very, very excited to welcome to the show someone who I've had on. I haven't counted all the times, a lot, but it's been a little while. He is a YouTuber with, and I don't know if these numbers are accurate. This is the latest according to Wikipedia. He has numerous channels, but his main one has 20 million and his other ones have like 7 to 8 million. So altogether, that's bazillions. He's got like over 4 billion. Not if that's right. Over 4 billion total views. It might be more than
how many of them are hate views? There's a lot of questions.
That doesn't count. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just so many. Okay. It's just so many. He is a New York Times best-selling author. He's just done so much. Please put your hands together. Oh, also, what am I saying? I forgot one of the main things. He had a hit podcast for many years, and now he's brought it back. Please put your hands together for Shane Dawson. Hello. Welcome back.
Hi. Oh my God. This is so weird because it's like a reunion. So there's that energy, but it also, the only other thing I use like Skype for is for therapy. Mm-hmm. And I just had therapy. So there's just like a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this is kind of the same. It's like a therapy reunion.
It is. I feel safe. I feel comfortable. I don't know what to do. I always feel this way when I see you because I've known you for so long and it's like weird and I get nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. I have to tell you, I love your new podcast. I have 1,000 questions about it, but I watched the most recent episode and you were wearing a light colored shirt and It looked so good. And you know me, we do go, we've known each other for a while now, and you know that I typically always and only wear black, but I have accrued this light colored shirt. It's white with like a blue, I don't know, city scene on it. And Tony's seen it now a number of times. It's the only thing I wear that's not black. But I was inspired to wear it to show you, Shane, look, sometimes I don't only wear black and you're wearing blue. So it's like, we're so colorful today.
Oh my God. It's like we went from therapy to a support group. This is great.
A support group.
Tony's like not there yet. He's still in black. He's embracing a little bit of color. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I'm trying new things. I'm trying to expand my uniform. The problem though is I'm a fraud because yes, I'm currently wearing a blue shirt for video listeners, video viewers. You know what I'm saying? Currently wearing a blue shirt, but my black shirt that I was wearing 5 minutes ago is in my bathroom right there. So I'm going to take this off right when I'm done. I'm wearing my pajamas. Like this is only from the chest up.
Oh, yeah.
color.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm wearing a bra right now, and that's coming off the second I'm off camera. And the thing is, and I have done this before, I don't even really need to be wearing a bra for Zoom. It's just sort of to put me in the mood of like I'm talking to other humans. But I've definitely done Zooms where I'm not wearing a bra because you really can't tell. But I don't know. It's just, anyway, enough of that. Shane Dawson, catch me up. When we last talked.
Oh my God. Sorry.
I know it's a lot. When we last talked.
It's just like the worst. Sorry.
What?
This is like, I started seeing my therapist right before I got canceled. And then like she took a week off or something happened. And then it was like, catch me up. And I was like, whoo, well, the whole world hates me. No, things are good. I'm good. It's been rough. The last time I saw you was like, oh my God, wait, that was another cancellation.
Okay. So you came over to my house. You had your rings. I think you had just gotten engaged with Ryland. And I think maybe you were going to like return one of the rings because you felt like it wasn't your style. Does that sound right? Yes.
My fingers have no knuckle support. Mm-hmm.
And I had just had Owen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 2019. It was like March or April. Well, he was born in late February. So I want to say it was like March or April of 2019 was when I saw you. You were referring to a cancellation, but maybe you have, I don't know I don't know which cancellation you're talking about right now.
That one was minor. That was now, I mean, it's interesting. Like the way my brain processes things now, I miss that because I'm like, wow, that was really, I wish I could go back in time and really ground myself and be like, this is nothing. Because yeah, that cancellation really was nothing in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, you were so nice to me and you and your husband, because I didn't want to cancel because I was like, I get really sick to my stomach. I cry. I take cancellations extremely hard and I didn't want to cancel. And I was nervous to come. I was nervous to talk because I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't want to get canceled again. And then you and your husband were just so sweet and gave me so much advice and were so nice to me. And yeah, I remember crying in my Uber and being so grateful. So thank you.
So if you don't mind, and you don't have to if you don't want, I don't want to like make you rip off scabs or anything. I'm just curious though.
Which is so fun, by the way. It's one of my issues. I love picking, but
we've probably talked about this because my favorite is like picking off a head scab and then pulling it through the hair.
Oh my God, it's bad. Oh, but then when you pick a scab and you accidentally get the root of the hair and then you pull the hair out, it's like, oh no, I don't want to lose that, but also satisfying. Sorry, continue.
But when you can get, do you bite your nails?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you can't have this fun. But for me and Tony, if you need to step off camera to barf, I understand.
Hey, just me.
Mm-hmm.
Or invoice me extra for hazard pay. But like when you can get the corner of the scab between your nail and like your finger, the pad of your finger, and then so good. But then when you realize the wetness is blood, like that's a little gross.
That's when you have that moment where you're like, I should get help, but I also can't wait for that to scab over and to do it again. And also, because you're, not to say this is a woman or a man thing, but the chances of you going bald are less. Chances of me going bald are extreme and going to happen. So for me, I'm like, I have fucked up. I've ruined my head. If I have to go bald, if I have to shave I'm going to have scars all over my head. And how am I going to explain that?
Right. I never thought of it that way. You're right. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah. I'll come up with an excuse. I'll make something up. Maybe fragments of, I was in I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Bird attack.
I got canceled, right?
I think you should say you were in a bird attack. Yeah. So what was the minor cancellation and then what was the major cancellation?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. The minor, that one was over a story I told on my podcast involving my cat. Which,
yes, now I remember.
Okay, as a podcaster, you have your kind of go-to stories that maybe you don't, because you don't have possibly the same mental issues I have, but I kind of used to have these stories where I knew that they would get a big, crazy reaction. That one was one of them. And it was like it wasn't based in truth, but it was based in like a sketch I was going to make in like 2010. And I was like writing this sketch and I thought it would be funny. And then years later, I told it on a podcast because I was reminded during the conversation. I was like, oh, that would be a funny story. And I was always trying to make the funny, crazy stories. And my co-host would always scream at me and go, oh my God. So that was one of them. And years later, somebody posted it on Twitter and everybody was mad. And there's only so many ways you can say, like, I didn't do anything gross to my cat.
Mm-hmm.
But like, also there's so many things that don't make sense about that, considering how violent cats get. But, yeah, that one was rough. But also, in retrospect, not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, though, it was brutal because it happened the day I was proposing. So I woke up and I was like already nervous. It was the day before. Oh no, the day of. I woke up, I was nervous. I had the ring. I was planning everything out. His family flew in. Like, I had it all set up. And then I was getting canceled. And I was like, I'm okay. And I took it really hard. But I still wanted to propose. It was still our anniversary. I was still going to make it happen. And it was an incredible moment. And I love it so much. But right after, I was like in the bathroom. And he was in the urinal next to me. And we were holding hands. Wow. Sorry, that's so visual. And also a perk of, I guess, being with a guy. Like, holding hands in a urinal. Anyways, we're holding hands. I'm looking at the ring. I'm like crying. It's like such a beautiful moment. And then my phone starts blowing up. And it's like, there's another clip of you, petting your dog weird. And it was just all these drama channels texting me about this. And I was like, this is ruining my real life. And then a year later, I got really canceled. And thank God, because I now like have a real world life. And I just don't let any of that ruin my real world life because it doesn't fucking actually matter. So anyways, that was a long rant.
What was the big cancellation?
Oh man, it was so much. It was like at that time period, Corona started. Oh my gosh. In November of 2019, I did a series and I had a makeup palette and it went over well. And, but it was also very dramatic. I mean, like every time I would upload an episode of the series, like it would turn into drama and which by the way, my fault. Like I was a part of the beauty world and doing all these things. Like, so anyways, it was just very intense, right? Like very, and then the palette came out and it did well, which the flip side of that is when something goes over well and then it kind of becomes like a weird, people who don't know who I am now know about it or they're seeing it. So then my name kind of became this thing where it was like, then all these clips from my old sketch comedy videos started coming out around that time. And then Corona, and then, more and more clips started kind of coming out. And it was like, I just wanted to say something. And then Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, all that happened. And I saw YouTubers talking about videos that they had made that they were ashamed of and apologizing. And at that point, I really was sick to my stomach over it. And it wasn't even like, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't have made an apology video. Why did you do that? And for me, I just really wanted to. And I felt so sick over like, I don't know. So I sat down and I just talked about all my old sketches and that I wish I didn't do them. And then it was like a couple days later, more clips came out. And then it was like, it was too much to even talk. There's so much. I mean, I had years, 10, 15, however many years of stuff, of videos of like hundreds of hours of podcasts. Like I had so much out there, and there were so many different people offended that it was like too much to even like, what do I even say? What do I even do? Then it kind of turned into like, and I don't want to victimize myself or be like, you know, boo-hoo. But I mean, it was just like every day it felt like everybody in the whole world hated me and wanted me dead. And I was just, and I hated me. And then I already have issues with self, whatever. So like now I hate me. And yeah, it was really bad. But luckily, I was in therapy, and yeah, so, but I'm alive, and I don't regret, you know, apologizing and making that video, even though a lot of people are like, that was you shouldn't have done that because you fucking, you know, that. Then everybody went searching. And I'm like, I honestly, at this point in my life too, it's like, I would rather, it's all out there. Every dumb thing I've ever said, every shitty joke I've ever made, it's all there. And it's like, now I don't know. It's like, I just want to make stuff I love, and I'm almost 34 years old. So I want to continue and not be a shitty person. So it's like, I'm not the shitty person. I don't know. Sorry, that was a long answer, but
that's okay.
It was a lot.
So was your making the apology or the accountability video the thing that precipitated the cancellation, or was the cancellation kind of already in motion?
I think before I made that video, I had already stopped looking at Twitter because it had gotten so mean. Not even about being canceled, just in general, like the makeup thing. I don't know. It just got intense. And then I knew that because people were texting me, and I knew that there was some like clips and stuff, but it wasn't like, I didn't have people around me being like, make a video, you need to address this. Like nobody said that. And when I brought it up, people around me were like, I don't know if you need to do that. I was like, I just want to, like, I fucking want to, like, that's what I want to do. And, so yeah, but do I think, I mean, I don't know. I think everything happens for a reason. And I think I think if I wouldn't, and not to turn this into like a, you know, I know people get upset when, like, I genuinely am glad I got canceled. Like, I think if I wouldn't have got canceled, I'd be dead 100%. Like, my whole world, my whole life was making these things for the internet, for strangers to, you know, that was my whole 24 hours a day. And when something would happen on the internet, it would ruin my day. It would ruin my life. It would ruin everything. And yeah, I don't know. Getting canceled gave me a whole new perspective on everything. Cause it does show you that it's like, it really doesn't matter. The internet dramas, it doesn't matter, you know, real life matter. And not to say that I don't deserve criticism for the old videos. Like I'm aware of that, and I'm embarrassed of it, and I hate it. But I don't remember the question. I don't really talk about stuff like this. So it's like weird to talk about it, but like, I probably am just going in circles because I don't.
No, you're not. You're actually
sorry.
You're making a lot more sense than I think you're giving yourself credit for. I mean, I had this incident. There's these mom boards on Facebook, which are just like horrendously sanctimonious spaces. And I had this incident where I posted this thing on there where I kind of made myself vulnerable, and I posted this thing, which I thought was a fine thing to post. The mistake that I had made was in thinking that posting something vulnerable and honest and a little bit stream of conscious that would be fine to, like, you know, on my Patreon would go over well with 5,000, you know, sanctimonious moms that don't know me. And they just ripped me. I mean, like 200 comments, some people defending me, but many of them just ripping me a new one. I mean, it was just, I was just watching the comments come in, just vicious. And I felt like they're misconstruing what I said. They're thinking the worst of me. I mean, it was just like, and this is just something small that happened. It was ridiculous, but it was so traumatic, and it was such a tiny blip. So I'm just thinking, like, you know, it was like 1/millionth of what you experienced. And I totally get that you're not trying to make yourself the victim here. But at the same time, I'm just thinking about sort of the scale of the trauma to your identity that this must have been is pretty intense.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm sorry that happened, because that is like, I don't even have a Facebook because it scares me so much. Like, I mean, I've deleted most of the apps off my phone, but yeah, Facebook, also Nextdoor, which I don't even know how to log into that, but Ryland's Nextdoor drama that he's always reading is insane. People are, okay, sorry.
No, it's bad. Nextdoor is bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, parts of me, the reason I don't talk about it much is because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to like I made a video like 6 months ago, briefly kind of talking about where I was at with everything. And I think it went over well because the video people were being nice, but also I'm sure there was a million drama videos, and I'm sure people still hate me. I'm aware of that. I don't look at it, so I don't know, but I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I think there is, and I don't know if I'm the person to talk about it because like, but there is something to the effects. Like and I've talked about this before, so it's fine. I don't want people to think I'm like boohoo, but yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to die, and I don't think if I had if I didn't have Ryland, and if I wasn't in therapy, you know, like I was ready. I was done. Like, cause it got to a point where you're so like, I mean, the internet was my whole world, and having it feel like everybody turned on me. I mean, I don't even know how to talk, because yeah, so, justified for a lot, you know, I understand people that were upset and offended and mad, but you know, it was like my whole life, it instantly was gone. And then on top of that, it was like every day there was another thing, another, you know, and some of them were so insane and like not real at all. And it was like, this is never going to stop. It's never going to stop. And then it got to like a tipping point where I was like, I don't know how to mentally process this. Like, this is not, and my therapist was struggling with, like, we were both, how do we process this? Because like, what?
Well, it's bigger than the human brain can handle. I mean, it's on a bigger scale than we're meant to deal with, I think. And I think I haven't researched this, although I do hold many advanced degrees, none of which I actually hold. But I think that it feels like being shunned from the group, which is death on a very primitive level.
Yeah, definitely that. Definitely like, I think, yes, being shunned from the group, but also like, I had distanced myself so much from that version of myself. I mean, I've known you for, I don't even know, probably 2012, maybe.
Or 2011, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
and it was like,
yeah.
And so I went through this whole struggle of like, what the fuck is wrong with me? That, because there's a thing where people were really like, oh, he's a monster. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm not a monster. I know I made a lot of horrible, horrible choices. And I know a lot of them are rooted in a lot of my childhood issues. And like, why did I feel so freely to joke about certain things? Like, I'm aware of all that, but I never did anything with the intention of hurting anyone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing where I would look back at clips or whatever, and I would just even more so hate myself and even more so be so like that level of self-hatred on top of it feeling like the whole world hates you, but also feeling like I'm a fully different person. Like that was me, but I was like so distanced from it where I was like, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. But that is me and that was me. And why was I like doing that? But also like I wasn't some monster walking around fucking being horrible to people. I've always been a nice person. So I'm just like, it's just so insane to me. And then, you know, there's other elements to it. Like, well, the humor was different back then and everything was different. And which, yes, I agree. But, you know, it's still crazy that I was just like, I don't know, like why? So yeah, so that was something I had to really unpack the last couple of years. And yeah, I mean, it's hard when it feels like the whole world hates you and you also hate you. And on top of that, you're like, why? Like, how am I here? Like, why? Because people were watching those videos back then, which is why I'm still around, because a lot of people are like, I've been watching you since I was little. And I'm like, so, well, this is just so fucking confusing.
Did you,
it's like,
did you lose followers?
Oh my gosh.
Did you lose fans? Because it's like, I look at, you know, I looked at your podcast in iTunes and you just launched and you already have, you know, thousands of 5-star reviews. And I was like, oh, maybe this is your feed from before, but it's not. Like those are all new. So, I mean, you have, you know, hundreds of thousands of views on these new like you still have a humongous audience who loves you.
I mean, I'm so intensely grateful for because it was at a point where I was like I didn't think I was ever going to come back and make YouTube videos ever because it pushed me to my own actions, and also people hating me did push me to the darkest literal suicide fucking place ever. So I didn't think I'd ever be able to make anything again. And then it was like a last October-ish, I just wanted to do something and I was like getting antsy and I was just like, I want to make something. And people have been very nice and I'm so grateful because I was not expecting that at all. I mean, I think it's like, yes, I think I lost. I stopped looking at the date, like the number, because it would make me sad. Now it's just, I'm just grateful that it wasn't all of them. But it's like when you lose a bunch of weight on like Weight Watchers and then you start gaining it back, but you're like, but I didn't gain all of it back. It's like the same feeling. I'm like, it's only a point. I think I lost, you know, probably 3 or 4 million, you know, on YouTube subscribers and fast, like it happened fast. And yeah, but I think it's just one of those things where, and yeah, it is hard to not compare like, oh, I used to get, you know, 20 million views on a video and now I'm not. But also, like somebody was telling me the other day, like getting that many views on something comes with a lot of costs. It's, you know, you don't get that many views on something and it's not all consuming with criticism and this and drama. And like, I've never been more miserable than when I was getting that many views. Like my whole life was consumed by it. I was missing out on real life things. My relationship wasn't as strong. Like it was fucking horrible, but creatively fulfilling. And now it's like, oh yeah. So I am grateful. But yeah, a lot of people did leave, which is, I understand. And now it's just, I don't know, making stuff I care about. And avoiding like hate at all costs, like not looking at it.
Right. So tell me about the decision to move to Colorado.
Oh man. That was like, we went out there, I think that was last summer, and I love his family so much and they live out there. So we go out there for holidays and stuff. And then we were there and Ryland was like, I found an open house. And I was like, we're not going to actually move here. Like there's no world where I've always wanted to move there. I love Colorado. I was like, there's no world where he's going to let that happen. And then we fell in love with the house and then we were both ready so we did it. But now it's a place where we don't know what to do as far as like, we're in LA right now.
Oh, okay.
Because we came back to sell this house. And then when we got here, it just felt like not the right time to do that. Financially, I really probably should do it, especially after, you know, the worst couple years ever. It's like, I should probably sell my house. But I don't know. So now we're in a weird place. We're going to go back to Colorado soon. And I guess we're going to try to rent this house out. But yeah, I love Colorado so much. It's just so like, I just love it. Yeah. I like, you guys were talking about the gloomy weather and all that. Oh, I love it. I love dark, cold weather where I can just wear 7 jackets.
So then the podcast you're doing, where is that? Where are you doing that from?
That is from here in my house in LA, which of course I was just like, it's one of those things where, you know how like unintentionally you make things harder for yourself? Like, like we were about to go back to Colorado and then I was like, I want to try a test pilot, you know, let's just film something. And then of course we did. And of course I loved it and it was so fun. And I was like, this is my thing now. And now it's like, now we were supposed to go back to Colorado. How the hell am I going to do this? Why did I do that? I'm stupid. So now I'm in that phase. I'm like, how do I do that? I don't know. Side note, but are you in your, last time I was at your house, you had like a back house that you were going to turn into a podcast. Is that where you are?
That's where I am right now. Yeah. I know if I had known you were here, I would have said, except that now I'm sick. So it's better that you're not here in person. But if I had known you were out here and I was not sick, I would have said, come do it in person. Next time. And I'm going to invite myself on your podcast. I don't know if you're having ladies, but I'm going to invite myself on.
I would love a lady. It's like when The View will randomly throw on a man. And it's like, it's interesting. Except for, yeah.
I enjoyed your podcast so much. Yeah. I first I listened and then I watched. And I was like, I was so instantly entertained. I mean, you're the only person, I know you well. And then Ryland, I'm familiar with because of you. And then, Chris and Jared, unfamiliar with. But I was like so instantly to sound cliche, I was like, I feel like I'm hanging out among friends and I'm just enjoying listening to these dudes so much. So I would recommend it because I feel like everyone's looking for just another podcast to throw on where they feel like they're listening to friends talking to each other. So kudos. I feel like you got a hit on your hands.
Well, thank you so much. Like, because that was the goal. Like, just, I don't know, just having fun and like, it's so fun to like have my brother, because we haven't done something together in years. So like, and I knew he was funny, but I wasn't aware how good he was going to be. Like, he's so good, and I'm just so proud of him. So it's just such a fun like. Now I have to go back to Colorado. What am I doing? Anyways, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So tell me about what made you decide to do the podcast and sort of what your vision for it is. And then I'm throwing out too many questions at once, but also I'm wondering, are you editing it, like doing the video, or is someone else?
So, well, the idea was, I came back to YouTube and started making videos, which was exciting and fun, and I'm loving that. And then on the way to LA, we drove from Colorado back here. We were listening to podcasts, and I just had that moment where I was like, I miss it so much, which is so crazy because my last podcast is part of so many of my cancellations. It was things I said on my podcast. So I'm like, why would I want to do this again? But I just I've been listening to podcasts since they came out, like 2005 or something. And I just love interviewing people, and I love, getting deep, and I just love it. So yeah, I was in the car and I was like, I want to do this again. I want to try this. And then I just wanted to do it. But then I started like second guessing it. A lot of podcast networks, like trying to like see if I could get a deal somewhere. But then that scares me because I'm like, but I don't even know what the show is. And also like, are brands even going to want to work with me? And like, this is a lot. I don't know if I want to do this. So then I wasn't going to do it. And then my brother was like, you should just record one, like just have fun and do it. And And it was just instant. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I love. I love doing this. And I also love like, because he's very not woke. And then, you know, Chris is he's not woke, but I mean, he's woker than the rest of us. And then, you know, Ryland is just such a fucking catty, you know, he's so fun. And I'm like, this is actually an interesting vibe. Like, this is fun. I like this. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
And then
I'm editing it.
You're editing it. The
And it
video's
takes my
funny.
whole, you know, like it's hard to, I mean, we filmed the last one, we filmed like 3.5 hours of footage. And I was like, okay, I have to cut it down to an hour and add funny things and pictures. And I mean, it took me like a few days, and I was like, all right, so is this my full-time job now? And if it is, I need to figure that out. And also, like, what am I doing? But yeah.
So going through the transformation you went through, where you came to a place where you're like, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but after being canceled, you know, the bigger cancellation where you're like, before I was living where my whole life was the internet, and now I've realized, you know, here's real life, and this is what matters. What's in front of me matters. What's real. And, you know, all that stuff is on the outside, and that's not real. Again, I'm putting words in your mouth, but, you know, so to speak. And I'm going to prioritize real life. So then to come back to the internet and to come back to creating and putting stuff on the internet, I would imagine that is daunting, right?
Whoa. Yeah. In October, so I had been semi on the internet a little bit because, you know, when we decided to move to Colorado, Ryland was filming his life and stuff. And I was trying to stay out of his videos because anytime I would show my face in one of his videos, you know, it would turn into like, Shane is trying to weasel his way back in YouTube. And I'm like, you guys, I literally would rather fucking die than be on YouTube. Like, it got to that point. So I'm like, I live with him. And he's filming his life, and I'm and we lost a lot of people around us, and I'm the only person he has to film with. So like, then it became that, right? And so then it was like, the more I would help him, I started editing his videos because I just love editing, and I missed it so much, and I needed something to keep my brain creative. So I was editing his videos. Then the Colorado thing happened, and he started documenting it, and I just had so much fun editing it. Like, I missed that, like making like a reality show type of thing. So that was fun. And yes, then like in October, I was like, I got this idea and I wanted to film it with no real intention of posting it. And I just had so much fun. And I was like, but the day that I was going to actually post it, because I mean, for like months and months and months, I like worked out the whole plan with my therapist, because I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I need validation? Am I doing this because I'm afraid of money and the fact that I'm not making as much? Like, why am I really doing this? And then once it came to the thing where I'm like, I will die if I don't create stuff. And like, if everybody hates me and all that, it doesn't matter, because like, I just want to create stuff. Like, once I got to a good place with that, I was ready to post. And then people were surprisingly nice. But I mean, it could turn at any second, but people were surprisingly nice. But yeah, that day that I posted, I was crying all day. I was like on the toilet all day. Like, I mean, it's like I was like, I'm in such a good place. Why would I ruin it? By like posting stuff? And also, why would I ruin Ryland's life? Because people like him, you know, and his vlogs, and, you know, he's doing well, and because, you know, he went through the ringer too, because he's with me. And I'm like, this is going to ruin everything. So I just had so much pressure. And not that he would ever say that. He was just like, let's, you know, if everybody hates me, who cares? Like, let's fucking move to a farm and fuck off. Who cares? So, but yeah, that was horrifying. I probably got some kind of stomach ulcer from it.
Yeah. What's Ryland's attitude about online hate?
Oh, he is like the polar opposite of me with like, he's so good at, so for example, you know, because I don't search myself and I don't search anything, it's been a year and a half ish since I've even like seen, you know, a video about me pop up on like my YouTube homepage. But sometimes one will creep through where like I'll be having a good day and everything's good and I'm happy, and then like a thumbnail will pop up and it's like, you know, why Shane shouldn't adopt kids, like, and I'm just like, And literally, right? With like a picture of some guy just being like, and it's like a picture of a baby and a picture of me and like a big text that says like, no adoption. And I'm like, and literally that will create just the biggest pit in my stomach. I will have diarrhea all day. I will like go into another room and like spiral. And him, I mean, he's just very good at instantly being like, that doesn't matter. That person doesn't know me. I don't know that person. They don't like, they know what I put out into the world. They don't know who I am and who cares. And I'm going to go to hot yoga and get Panera bread. Like he's very good at that. Which thank God that I'm with him because he really kept me from spiraling and still does. So yeah, I don't know.
Did he have a good childhood?
Yes. He had a good childhood.
Is that the difference? Because I'm just thinking like, if I'm feeling really weak, I'll like look at some comments and that instantly like makes me feel terrible because it's not going to be any comments that make me feel good. And I'm thinking like, what is it? Because I'm like you, where I think that I deep down have an overly, no offense to us, overly permeable sense of self. So there's some part of me that like allows this stuff to get in, whereas Ryland he's totally right. He's like, these people don't know us. Why are we letting this, they don't know the truth. But it does affect me. I need Ryland.
I'm sure it's definitely childhood trauma for both of us, but also, and I hate to be this person, but what's your birth zodiac?
I'm a Taurus.
Sorry, audio listeners only. I'm shocked.
Why?
That's the face I'm making. Because Ryland's a Taurus, and I thought maybe it was a Taurus thing because Tauruses are like grounded and they're, they don't get really emotional.
Not this Taurus.
That is so funny.
I don't really.
So it's a childhood thing then. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about astrology, but maybe I have some kind of rising sign or some other kind of something or other that is some. Why? What are you?
I'm a Cancer, which is like the most emotional, like every like celebrity who's like always crying and always has issues, they're usually Cancers. So it's not great, but I've come to terms with it. I think one thing I learned was, and this, when you said childhood stuff, and this is something when I was told this, I was like mad about it and defensive, but it's so true. And it's when you get, like when you see a hate comment or somebody that doesn't like you, or they're putting out this narrative that you're like, that's wrong, whatever, and it hurts your feelings, it makes you sick. There's a feeling of like wanting to control that. And it's like, I want that person to like me. I want them to know the real me, and they don't know me. And if they knew me, they'd like me. And
yes,
it's trying to control how a stranger feels about me, which is because when you're a kid and you don't have control and your life is kind of out of control and your parents are doing whatever. And, now as an adult, it's like, I want to control all these things. And it's like, that is so unhealthy. And I think people like Ryland, who had normal childhoods, they don't feel that need to control strangers' opinions of them because they're like, who cares?
My whole life is just always, and this goes back to childhood, like if I could just cobble together the right combination of words, I could make them understand. And the they in that scenario is my parents. But I feel like that's what like my whole life is about, talking into a microphone or, writing or just trying to get the right combination of words to make people understand that like, no, I'm good. You don't understand. They're wrong about me, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah. There was one thing that I thought about today, and it's something that I feel sick to my stomach that I used to do. Like to make friends was like, I don't know why actually I do know why I thought about this. Anyways, when I would meet someone new and I would be so insecure and I'd be like, oh, they're not going to like me, or like, how do I make them like me? I would try to connect with them by shit talking somebody that I knew they didn't like. And I would just be like, oh, so, you broke up with that person, like fuck that person. Right. And then now I'm like, oh, we have a connection because we both hate the same person. And I had a lot of friendships or relationships or whatever built on that. And now, sorry, the reason I remembered this, I probably shouldn't say this, but I was reaching out to somebody to be a guest on my podcast. And I had a thought where I have a mutual enemy, not enemy, but somebody that we probably both don't like. And in my head, I'm like, wow, 10 years ago, I would have had this person on my podcast and hung out with them and shit talked this person together to connect. And now if somebody did that with me, like if a stranger started shit talking someone, I would instantly be like, eek, toxic, bad vibes. Like I shouldn't be friends with this person. I'm like, that was what I was doing for my 20s. Like it's just dark.
I know. That's a very evolved stance you've taken. I mean, that is a very common way people bond though.
I mean, I did it with you. Like not to get into that, but even though I had no stake in the game, like I instantly, when I first met you, I remember, or no, probably the second time, I remember just like, you were going through something and I was just like shit talking and, being like, but this person's probably the worst, right? And you were very like, not, you were like, well, they have their issue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, now I'm trying to remember who we were talking about.
I mean,
is it obvious? Maybe I probably know. Oh, okay.
And, but now I look back and I'm like, oh, I hope she doesn't think that's because, I guess that was who but that's not me. It's anyways.
Well, if it's who I'm thinking of, I just felt I felt that you were just being kind and loyal.
Which I was, but also I'm like, it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, like, it's just interesting. But I guess, it's childhood stuff. It's like, me and my mom or whoever, like talking to adults who are going through a lot of shit when you're like 9, it's easier just to start gossiping and, shit talk. I don't know. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, good thing I got rid of that. Anyways, I don't know why I brought that up, but.
No, it's interesting.
Now I remember. I was trying to think of somebody to tell to go fuck themselves.
Were you having trouble?
I was like, well, I don't want to put out that energy. I thought of someone, but I was like, wow, I bet the last time I did this show, I probably had like 500 people that I was like just ready to go.
Well, I want to tell you guys about Little Spoon. Little Spoon is a one-stop shop for healthy, easy mealtime and snack time for your baby, toddler, and big kid, delivered right to your door. Little Spoon makes healthy mealtime easy at every stage, saving hours in your week and all at a reasonable price. They're also the most flexible company. Pause, modify, cancel, or skip at any time. Most of the baby kids' foods at the grocery store is heavily processed and often on the shelf longer than your little one has been in this world. It's not cool, and it's not the quality nutrition little kids deserve. Little Spoon makes everything fresh and uses absolutely nothing artificial. It's just like homemade, all delivered to your door and ready in seconds. Pop your meals in the fridge and freezer and use them when you're ready. It's that easy. We had a fridge full of Little Spoon stuff. The pouches I took with me to Descanso Gardens, and the kids wanted a snack when we were walking around, and they had them, and they were so good. And then we finished them and went back to Descanso Gardens, and Elliot asked, do we have fruit pouches? And I had to break his heart and say, no, we don't. And so now he has associated these Little Spoon pouches with Descanso Gardens. So I'm going to have to get more. And then also the meals are so delicious. And then when we were out of town and we got back and we had them, and they saved our hide because we had them waiting for us and we could just put them in the microwave, and the kids were so happy. All their recipes taste absolutely delicious, are nutritionally balanced and free of junk, helping to set your little one up for a lifetime of health. I've tried everything and it tastes legit great. My baby and toddler are eating better than me. The baby food goes from stage 1, smooth single ingredients, through to complex textured blends as your little one ages. And the smoothies have made snack time so much easier. Each flavor is inspired by a classic treat. I tried the strawberry banana shake today, and it tastes just like a milkshake with all healthy, clean ingredients. Best part, the price is right, with kids' meals under $5 and baby food plus smoothie snacks under $3. It makes trying Little Spoon easy. Start the new year fresh with Little Spoon. Get 50% off your first order with the code BESTFRIEND at checkout. Okay, we're going to do Just Me or Everyone and Hey, Go Fuck Yourself in a moment. But first, I just jotted down a couple quick questions for Shane. We need some kind of thing to indicate here come quick questions. Tony, just play something.
All right.
I feel like I know what's going to happen. That surprised me and I liked it. What appeals to you about editing, Shane? I say as someone who's not a fan of editing, I don't really know how to do it, but what I know of it.
I just love it. I love creating things that, or like, I love turning something into something that makes you feel something. Like my favorite thing to do, which is definitely rooted in childhood issues, but my favorite thing to do is like make myself cry or feel something from like the right song, the right shot, the right B-roll, the right whatever. And if I feel that thing, it's like a drug. I'm just like, oh, I love it, which, you know, gets me in used to get me in trouble because people like, you're so dramatic, your editing is so dramatic, and you're, you know, these aren't documentaries. And I'm like, you're right. Like I'm trying to make movies out of footage that sometimes is really boring. I'm like, you know, creating like a moment, and I'm like, but yeah, I just love it.
I guess I should rephrase. I love what editing can do. I just mean the actual mechanics of it. But I think that's because my skill level is not there. But you enjoy like
chorus thing.
Does Rylan not like it either?
Hates it. I mean, when he's in the groove, he's having fun, but oh my God, he takes a break every 2 hours and he's like, and I'm just like, what are you doing? I thought you had to edit. And he's like, I needed to step away. I'm like, it's been an hour.
Where do you stand on water, drinking water? And what are you drinking these days?
Oh my God. That's right. We both have that issue.
Yes.
So and this is actually dangerous. So I haven't had soda since January, which is crazy. I was drinking probably 24 cans of soda a day, diet soda. It got really bad, but I got COVID, and COVID for some reason, you know, it's awful, right? But also it got rid of my soda addiction. Like the thought of soda made me really sick during COVID. And then after that, it kind of lingered. The thought of carbonation made me sick. I still can't drink carbonation. So I started drinking water. The problem though is I still put flavoring in it, little Mio's squeezes. And I got this big baba, and I just called it a baba. Right, cool. I call it my baba because of the way that me and Rylan suckle on it, and he suckles on his baba, and he's like, I need my baba. Anyways.
That makes it cooler.
Yes. It's a half gallon. Now here's the problem. It's so easy to drink out of this. And because Mio's is so good, I'm probably drinking like probably 5-6 of those a day, which like is like 3 gallons of water a day. And then I started getting like water poisoning, and I started getting
How do you know if you have that?
So I wasn't diagnosed, but at my peak Mio's intake, you know, 6 half gallons a day, I started getting really dizzy at night, really nauseous, full on diarrhea, full on like, you know, confusion, feeling sick. And then Rylan started feeling the same way. We both thought, oh my God, we got COVID again. And
You're
it wasn't
overhydrated.
Yes. And then I Googled it, and I was like, cause he was drinking the same. And then I looked into it, and I'm like, oh my God, these are all signs of too much water. Of course I would do that. Of course I would, for the first time in my whole life, drink water, and I would overdose on it. So now I'm attempting to only do 3 a day, but it's hard. It's so good.
I mean, what I'm hearing is that water is bad for you, which is what I suspected. What flavor is the Mio?
It's orange vitamin, which is another problem because I'm probably overdosing on vitamins, but like it's the orange is so good. So I'm just
I need to try that because I'm holding up a water that I've been working on since February. I'm exaggerating, but I'm trying so hard. I keep trying to just drink water, but I just don't like it. It's just not good. And I'm like, I really was off of the sodas for a long time. And then I'm like inching back with diet ginger ale. And now there's like some diet 7-Up in the mix. I broke for years, you probably saw me drinking those 0 calories sweetened, 0 calories, 0 caffeine, like wild cherry sodas. And then I switched to Walmart brand, which are, you know, great from an ethical and pocketbook standpoint. Key lime and cherry limeade flavor, those are very good. And I've stopped those.
Oh, the orange cream.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah, I stopped those, and so was just doing water, but then now I'm back on some soda. And then every time I would take a sip of soda, I would chase it with a sip of water to protect the enamel on my teeth. And now I'm not even doing that. Wait, so did you have a bad bout of COVID? Sounds like it wasn't great.
Oh my gosh. It was brutal. So, and I did the vaccine, and I had COVID back in 2019 before anybody knew, before it was COVID. And Yeah,
Wait,
and that was
2019. You know it was COVID though? Because you
Yeah,
have
so
the antigens
in Christmas of 2019,
or antibodies.
I was like dying, and I had never been that sick in my whole life, and I really thought I was going to die. And then the doctors came over and they tested me for everything. They're like, "You don't have anything that we're testing for. Maybe it's depression." And I'm like, "Okay, calm down. Like, check the toilet. It's not depression."
You're like, and that one I know. So
Yeah. And then months later, when COVID happened or came around to, the news and stuff, and then the antigen, I think. So
antibodies,
I tested,
yeah.
and I had a bunch of those, and I was like, oh, that's when that was. So I thought, and then I got, the vaccine and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'm probably good. I have the antibodies, I have the vaccine. I don't go anywhere. Yeah. And then in January, I got it. Rylan got it first, and his was bad. But, after a few days, he was still able to, walk around and whatever. I got it, and I was like couch ridden for, a week, and then another week of having no voice. And then I kept testing positive. I think I was on day 20 or something, and I was still testing positive. And I was like, it's never going to go away. Why is it never going to go away? And then I didn't know what to do because, the CDC and all that. And it was like, if it's been more than this many days, and you're still testing positive, you're probably not contagious. So you can, but I'm just such a I was just like, but I don't want to give it to anybody. So then I was crazy. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was nothing. I'm fine. But yeah, it was crazy. Like, I've never had that level of sickness before. Both times I had it, I was like, this is like scary. It was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah, the CDC recommendations that you can go back to work or whatever after a certain number of days, even if you're testing positive, as long as you're wearing a tight fitting mask, because conceivably you could be testing positive for a day. Like, that's, to my mind, it's like, but how can you still feel okay going out in public if you're still testing positive? That's scary to me.
Well, yeah, and I don't understand. I mean, I'm so out of the loop with I watch The View occasionally, but besides that, like my political, all that stuff, I'm very out of the loop. So I was even confused because I was like, okay, The View is telling me, I'm like, The View is telling me to listen to the CDC, but then now the CDC is telling me that I can leave the house. But The View is now telling me not to listen to the CDC and is telling me that, you can't leave. And I'm like, who do I listen to? And then I call, the place I was getting tested. And I'm like, okay, so if I'm still positive, but because at day 20, I had no symptoms anymore. And I'm like, but I'm still testing positive. So and they're like, well, you could test positive for 3 months. And I'm like,
yeah, okay.
And she's like, but you're fine. You can leave the house. You're not contagious after, that long. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't know my brain. My brain is getting, I'm killing people. Like, I'm going to see Rylan's grandma. She's going to get it. She's going to die. It's all my fault. Like, it, that's just how my brain works. Luckily, I finally tested negative, and I was like, oh, all right. Anyways.
Yeah. No fun. Okay. Let's do Just Me or Everyone.
Is it just me or everyone?
All right. Shane, do you have a Just Me or Everyone?
I have so many, and I'm trying to narrow it down to one.
You can do a few.
Well, okay, I'll go fast. My first one, I just thought about it because I'm doing it, and I feel like because you're a mother, you might know what this is. So for chapstick, I use nipple cream.
Oh,
for
yes.
breastfeeding mothers.
It's lanolin, I believe.
It's so good. And I think I've actually ruined my lips because now if I don't use it, they're fucked. And I have to use it. And I got it from, I watched a YouTuber talking about it, and they were kind of joking. And then I got it, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever put on my lips. But now the problem is I use it in public. And every woman, when I pull this out in public, is like clearly uncomfortable. I open it. I try to be discreet. I try to hide it. I rub it on my lips. They're just looking at me, especially at Home Goods. Oh, it's a nightmare. So yeah, the nipple cream on my lips. Just me?
Or it's not just you. It's not just you. Because it's recommended as a great balm for lips. You could get a little container and put some in, and then use that if you don't want to be drawing attention to your nipple lips.
The problem though is it's just so it's the actual bottle is matte Like it's very comfortable. It's very easy. It's like the squeeze, it comes out. So yeah, I think what I could do is,
put a sticker on
not
it.
use nipple cream on my lips like a fucking psycho.
No, I think it's fine. I think you're good. All right.
Thank
What's
you.
another one?
Okay, this is another one. And I thought about this last night when I was at dinner, and the waitress was a little perplexed, but I like when I get the bread basket, which we have to ask for now, which is a whole nother thing.
I know. I really, I like, I've got one after you, and it involves a bread basket as well.
Okay. Well, I always ask for a side of ranch to dip my bread in, and everybody has always given me a face about it. But then when you try it, it's like Rylan loves it now. It's so good, especially Cheesecake Factory ranch. Oh my God. And the brown bread. It's so good. Dipping it in ranch. Fuck butter. Fuck all that. It's the ranch. That's what you should be dipping your bread in. So just me?
Well, it sounds good, but it's not me. Tony?
Okay.
It's not me either. I could see it being good, but I've never done it.
Okay. All right.
Shane, have I told you about how there's still a question mark that looms over this exchange that happened with my two best friends in high school? And I say best in best friends question mark? I don't know, because we were all sitting there and my friend Jen said, "What's your favorite salad dressing?" And I said ranch. And she said, "Yeah, that tracks." And I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, it's a trendy dressing."
Oh. Trendy for who?
For me, she was accusing, I don't know what she was implying. The implication was it makes sense that I would choose ranch given that it's a trendy dressing and I am someone who likes trend. I don't know what she was implying.
She's an idiot. Listen, I don't know who this person is, but she can fuck herself. That is crazy. First of all, ranch, I want to live in a world where ranch is trendy. Are you
Well,
kidding
this
me?
was back when I was in high school. But I don't think
if you were asking for like a poppy seed vinaigrette or like something that's,
balsamic.
trendy.
Balsamic was trendy back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if she was dragging was not a term we used back then, but I don't know if she was trying to insult ranch or trying to insult me or both. But I wish that I had just asked what's the big idea, Jen, back then, as opposed to bringing it up, every 2 to 4 years ever since on podcasts.
She hated you. She's an evil person who hated you. See, I'm doing the thing now where I'm connecting with you by hate.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit, that's like, where's the podcast?
But you know what? Fuck her, because you should be able to eat whatever dressing you want. And if they are judging you, that's not your friend.
Thank you. Okay. Here's my bread, just mirror everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I already know how you feel because you already said fuck butter. But my just mirror everyone is 2 things. 1, I don't want to have to ask for the bread. I want it just to come to the table so I can be like, oh, what? I mean, I wasn't going to, but since it's here, okay.
Yes.
A. B, I appreciate your house oil and vinegar and the chef made special spreads, but I also would like the butter to just arrive by itself. I don't want to have to ask for that either. If bread's coming, I would like butter to come. And I don't mean any other whipped fatty item. I just mean butter, please.
Mm-hmm.
Just me or everyone? Sounds like it's not you because you want ranch.
Here's the thing. When they don't have ranch, I'm getting into that butter. And if it's spirally butter and if there's a little coarse salt next to it, it's going in the butter. It's going in the salt.
Okay.
It's going back in the butter again. Like I am like bring options because there's a restaurant that I go to where they have like all the bread fun options, the oils and the things I'm never going to do, but I'd like the option.
Yes.
And they just never bring them. And I see them over there and I'm like, why wouldn't you bring them?
Because when they have to go in the back to get the butter, because I will ask for it. I like to pretend it's for my children with the unrefined palates. I do always feel like there's some judgment about it. Like, oh, these ugly Americans, even though we're in, America, but these ugly Americans, they need butter.
Which,
they don't.
By the way, and I don't want to put out any fake news about butter, but I've been like looking into things for my body type because like I've struggled with my weight my entire life. And then when I learned what body type I had, it was like your body type does well with like, carb, low carb diet, whatever. And then so now I'm looking at everything and I'm looking at carbs, I'm looking at things and I'm like, oh my God, butter. I'm like, I'm going to drink this. Like why is butter considered bad when it's like fucking everything? Like, I'm like,
It's the lowest carbs there are. It's no
Yes.
carbs. Yeah.
Anyways.
Tony, butter, bread.
I mean, yeah, I'm cool with any of the stuff, really. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna necessarily ask for butter, but if it's there, I'd probably use it. But I'll also use the other stuff as well. But also, just a reminder to anyone: do not fill up on bread, guys. That's key to your meal. Don't fill up on bread.
I do.
Oh,
For my birthday.
Didn't you learn anything from your childhood?
I know, but
No, we did not. Tony, what does it feel like to be a well-adjusted human? Because I feel
You clearly don't know me well, so.
like when you go
Yeah.
to a restaurant, what do you order?
Well, it depends on the restaurant.
like an American, just what do you order?
I mean, nothing crazy. Just I don't know, like a burger or a burrito. Just
I want to be Tony. That's the same thing with Ryland. I'm like, what must it be like to be so well adjusted where you just order something like normal that sounds good and you're not being like us, where we're like, okay, but what if it doesn't have all these things? And okay, is it too many carbs? And okay, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Dream
So
life.
are you telling me that you don't look at the menu ahead of time online, Tony?
oh, absolutely do not. I actually dislike doing that.
Really?
There's so I know that's also ridiculous, but I don't know, for me, like, I realize this sounds insane, but either part of going out to eat and like for me is like getting there and then looking at the menu and like I don't know, it's like kind of like part of the thing for me, as ridiculous as that sounds.
And,
no, it doesn't
okay,
sound ridiculous.
And are you the type of person who like say it's not very good, right? The burger is kind of whatever. You're one of those people where you're like, it wasn't very good, whatever. Whereas like I'm one of those people where I'm like, that wasn't very good. I just wasted my calories. Why did I do that? Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. But are you just kind of like, whatever?
Yeah, probably more like that, with a hint of like, I'll be bummed that I didn't get something else, maybe. Because I think that's the thing, is if it's a place that I've been before and I know they have something I like, I have a hard time ordering something else because I'm like, what if it's not as good as the thing that I know is good?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there's a little crazy in there, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's plenty.
Sorry,
Believe me,
I'm
there's plenty.
breaking up pills right now to take.
Do you have a pill
That was-
cutter or is this a hand thing?
I'm using my finger. It was my pill alarm went off, so I'm sorry, Tony,
Oh.
by the way, about that audio problem.
That's fine.
But I used a soft tone for the pill alarm, so I'm just taking a chunk. Hold on. Anyways, I love well-adjusted. I mean, obviously, we don't know each other fully, but when it comes to restaurant etiquette, well-adjusted people, I'm so envious.
Same.
I mean, I'll make some special orders sometime, requests here and there of like, can I get that without this or something? But I try to limit it,
Mm.
But Tony hates bananas.
Yeah, it's true.
I get it. I like a banana, but I don't like a banana cream pie. I feel like that's gross, and the banana you have to eat it right away, or else it turns brown.
Yeah, I'm not,
understand.
I'm not opposed to other people eating bananas. If you like a banana, eat a banana. I don't care. Has no effect on me, but keep them away from me.
Mm.
Really, you got a problem with banana cream pie?
I think it's so disgusting, and it's one of those
Interesting.
things where banana cream pie is disgusting to me. The like jello-y mold thing that has banana chunks in it is
Mhm.
disgusting to. It's a texture thing.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I only discovered it as an adult, and I don't eat it very often, but I don't mind it. Do you have another just mirror everyone, or should we move on?
Oh, I mean, we could move on, but I could think of. I have one more.
Okay.
Let's see. Just mirror everyone. I like to watch things that I know are going to make me cry. And I think it's because in my normal life, I try not to cry too much.
Mm.
So then when everybody goes to bed and I'm all alone, I like to go to that one thing that I know is going to make me cry. And I just get it all out.
I've definitely done it many times.
It's
Oh
funny.
my God.
Didn't
Yeah, Bridget Todd was talking about
Yeah.
this with music, though.
okay. We
Yeah.
just had a guest who talked about doing this. I don't do this. I think I'm trying to push down my feelings.
Okay.
Although if I have something that I love that some of my favorite pieces of art, and by that I mean movies or TV shows, are ones that are like make me feel emotions. So it's not like I don't want to feel, but I don't find myself going to watch them over and over again in order to make myself cry. So like, what are some examples of things that you'll watch to make you cry?
I like watching audience reactions to things in movie theaters that I literally sometimes I have no connection to it. Like there was a point where I had never seen any of the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a video of people in the audience reacting to like a big moment in a Marvel movie. And I cried because I'm like, that must be such a cool like moment. Like when people are so excited, it makes me cry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
really
so
weird.
you only mean it in that sense, not necessarily for sad.
I mean, I can
Or
get
both.
I can get the sad thing too. Like I definitely can watch some sad stuff too. I don't have any like sad go-tos. But I guess the crying from overwhelming like anything involving like a kid who has an issue with their dad and their dad for the first time says like, I love you. Like shit like that. So it's like happy, but also sad when you really dive into that.
Do you ever watch the ones of the kids who get the deaf kids?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, little kids who get cochlear implants and hear for the first time.
Oh,
Have you ever seen those?
Those
not.
destroy me.
Oh my God. So it'll be like a little toddler who's never heard their mom's voice. And then they get these cochlear implants and their mom is like, hi, Colin. Hi, Colin. And at first the kid has this look of like fear on their face because they're like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they like smile and start crying. And then the mom starts crying and then you're crying. I mean, it's like instant. Everyone's crying. It's so sweet and sad.
I'll add that to my queue.
Yeah. It's COCHLEAR.
I've even seen ones with adults too, and those get me just maybe not as much, but still pretty hard though.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well,
I know it's super intense. I'm sorry. I forgot I'm hosting a show and now I'm just thinking of things that are sad. There's something else I was thinking of, but I have forgotten it. There's something else I was thinking of, some kind of viewing that is sad, but I guess I've lost it. Tony, I know that you have a Just Mirror Everyone that we've carried from week to week, and we've considered never ever getting to it. But now I feel like we should do it, or should we save it for a Tony's picks?
It really doesn't matter. As I've said, it's not that exciting.
Let's do it now that you've set it up.
It's just if I am at a store and I see something that I like kind of want, like I'm not dying to have it, but I'm like, oh, I kind of want that. And I will not buy it unless I'm buying something else. I don't really know what my reasoning is. It's kind of like I'm not going to go wait in line to buy this one thing that I only like kind of want.
That's very much me. I can talk myself out of any kind of in-person store experience so rapidly. If there's like I went to Costco to get some medicine for Wendy the other day. And while I was there, I decided to get a couple things, and I was so ready to abandon I find Costco overwhelming, and I was so ready to abandon the whole situation if there had been like any sort of line or friction.
Yeah.
And then it turned out not to be, but I was like, I can't wait to not be in this store anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you, Shane?
I think it just adds to your like the fact that you're a healthy-minded human, because what you just described was impulse control. Like,
well,
I don't need it, But if there's other things I need, then it makes logical sense. Like, wow. Yeah, I'm not, I want to be like that.
Well, to be fair though, also the second part of this though is that many times then I will then spend the rest of the day thinking about how I didn't buy it, and then the next day I just go back and buy it or order it online or something. Not always, but that does end up happening a lot.
But like, are we talking about like guitar picks or like a flavor of yogurt, or what kind of things are we talking about?
Yeah, like something like a, let's say, like a record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's fun though. You're just prolonging the fun because you see it in the store. That's fun. You think about having it. That's fun. You go back home and you're like, I should have got it. That's a little fun. It's a little like self-hating, but it's a little fun. And then the next day you get that feeling again.
You're edging your consumerism.
Yeah, but but there's a risk though with that though too, because sometimes you go back and then it's not there.
See, that's fun though. That just got me excited.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I have convinced my son Elliot that will never happen. I've basically convinced him that we live in and by the way, it's like very false given the supply chain issues going on, but I've convinced him that anything he sees in a store, it will always be there when we come back, because he's always worried, like, what if we don't get it today? What if it's not there when we come back? And I'm like, whatever it is, we can always get it another time. One of these days is going to bite me on the ass.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't already.
But it's like basic, because he'll be, this one thing at the grocery store or whatever, and I'm like, we can always, whatever, anything he's seen is some mass-produced something or other that we can also get online. Because otherwise, we're going to be buying things everywhere we go. It will bite me in the ass someday.
Yeah.
But this is a necessary lie at this point.
Yeah, you just described the plot of Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is that true?
He thought the toy would always be there for his son, and then Christmas Eve wasn't there.
Oh no!
He went on a whole hunt.
Do they eventually? Spoiler alert! Do they eventually find it?
Oh, not only does he find the action figure, he becomes the superhero that the action figure is based on. It is my favorite Christmas movie.
I need to go on this journey
with Sinbad. As a postman. That's good.
Okay. I'll do it.
I'm the opposite. Like I don't go shopping really ever because it involves leaving my house. But we did go to Nordstrom Rack because I needed a shirt for the podcast. And I'm like, okay, let's just go. And I went in and I bought the shirt. And then as I'm leaving, and there was like a line and everything. And I already went through the whole line. And then as I'm leaving, I look in and I see a leopard print suitcase that I just need it. I'm never going to use it. I just wanted that leopard print fucking 40-year-old woman moment. Like it felt like a mama suitcase and I needed it. And I went back in and I waited through the whole line again. And I still haven't taken the suitcase out of my car. Why'd I do that? I don't know.
Are you going to?
No, probably. Probably not. I don't know why. I don't need a suitcase. I'm loving leopard print for some reason. I just like it. And yeah, I probably should have left it for an actual mama to, take on her Hawaii vacation. And I didn't.
I know what I was going to say before. We were talking about things that make you cry. There's this movie that I used to watch. It was an HBO TV movie. I've talked about it before. The name is escaping me right now. It had Diane Lane. It was based on a true story. And she played this girl named Karen who had cerebral palsy. Ooh. And she goes into a home and she's like, she can't talk. She's in a wheelchair. She's like unreachable. It's in this home for kids with special needs. And this young woman comes in to be an assistant and she's like focused all her attention on Karen. And she gets like frustrated and really wants to reach her. And the other teachers or other aides there are like, she'll break your heart. Like, don't pour all your energy into her. There's like all these other kids that need you. And then she's like, well, what if in my off time, I put it, I spend time with her, and she like makes all these strides with her. And, Karen like really perks up when she listens to the music of Elvis and like writes a fan letter to Elvis. And then Elvis writes back. And I'm going to spoil the movie because it's like 40 years old or something. Anyway, at the very end, her temperature rises and she dies. Karen does. And it is a tearjerker. And I was like 6 when I watched it, and I watched it over and over and over and over. So that is something that I used to watch because I wanted to cry. I cannot believe that I can't remember the name of it. This is just a brain fart because it was such a big part of my childhood. And then I would want to reenact this movie. And so I would push my sister around on an ottoman. I probably shouldn't say that. I was 6. I feel like it's okay.
Wait, I don't understand. You push her around. Did the ottoman have wheels?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. An ottoman that had wheels on it. I would push her around.
I see it.
As if it was a wheelchair.
Now, was she acting like she had cerebral palsy?
No.
Because that's where you get into weird territory.
She was 2. And she was just being herself.
Got it.
She was not doing anything other than just being a 2-year-old. And I would just push her around. She was, yeah. Okay. Let's do.
Sorry, real quick. It appears
Yes.
that movie was called Touched by Love.
Thank you. I knew it was something. And what year did it come out?
1980.
Yes. Okay. So I was 5. I knew I guess by the time I saw it, I was 6. I knew that it was something love, and I could not remember it for the life of me. So good. I don't think it was highly rated, but if I had given it a rating. Does it have any ratings attached to it? Any Rotten Tomato scores?
I didn't really go that far. Let's see. There's Rotten Tomatoes. It has an 87 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That feels right.
It says fewer than 50 ratings, though.
Well, 51. Let's do Hey Go Fuck Yourself. Shane, who do you need to tell off?
Oh, okay. So I thought of somebody because I'm like, how do I think of a person, but I don't want to be mean. But I figured it out. Did you watch the documentary Our Father?
No.
Okay, I'm not one of those people that's like watching all the Netflix documentaries and being annoying about it, but you need to watch this one.
Okay.
It is about a fertility doctor who, for his whole, I don't want to give it away, but he would put, like, the wife would come in or the girl would come in, sometimes with her husband's sperm, sometimes she'd want a donor, and then he would go into another room, jerk off, put his jizz in the thing, and put it in her.
Oh my.
And it, without telling them, and then it led to 23andMe came out, 40 years later. And now all these people are related to each other and they're all like, what the fuck is going on? And they all look the same. So I won't give away how many people there are, but there's a lot of people and they're all the child of this disgusting doctor. And they went to trial and everything. And he went free and he's fine. And because they couldn't really figure out what the crime was, which is crazy.
Hijinks with your own jizz.
Right? I mean,
what state was this in?
I don't remember.
Because there was something funky like this that happened at UCI when I was in high school. Because it was a girl that a year older than me. Her father was like a big fertility clinic doctor at UCI, and he and his partner went down. But I don't. I feel like I would know if this was about them. I don't know what had happened with them, but interesting. I've got to watch this because I do enjoy a Netflix documentary.
Right. Well, he can definitely, I guess he did fuck himself quite a lot. The problem was what he did after, but yeah, he can fuck himself. So can you imagine, like, I can't even imagine finding out that your dad is like some psychopath, horrible person. And like, that is just so crazy to me. That makes me so sick to my stomach. That is so scary. Ugh.
Yeah. And that you have so many siblings out there. Ugh. So,
and in the same town, which means that they were probably all inbreeding, which that's another level to it. And now they're all afraid that they were inbreeding.
Right.
So our father guy.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
And then throw it away. Just put it in the cup.
Yeah. Shane, it was so nice to catch up with you. Thank you so much for coming out of hiding and doing this.
Thank you for I was so excited, and thanks for wanting me here.
Anytime. listen, everyone, if you like what you're hearing, or even if you don't, please make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Click 5 stars, leave us a comment. We read them on the show, or wherever you're listening, because I think pretty much wherever you listen now, you can rate podcasts. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're watching or listening. Follow me on social media at Alison Rosen, Twitter and Instagram. Listen to my other podcast, Upwardly Weekly, lighthearted news podcast that comes out on Saturdays, and Childish with Greg Fitzsimmons comes out on every other Wednesday. And Shane, tell everyone where they can find you and where they can find your podcast and your videos, and plug all your stuff.
Just go to the Shane Dawson Podcast, and if you just search that on YouTube, it should come up. And then on all the apps. I think I'm on the apps. I'm doing it myself, so I probably fucked up, but I think I'm on the apps.
I saw it on Apple Podcasts, so
Okay,
it's
good.
definitely there.
Okay,
And you've got
it's
a
there.
link tree as well. So
I figured that out, and I hope I'm not gonna. I hope I did that right. Because
did.
that was a scary experience. Yes.
I think you did. And Tony, what about you?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday. And the Motion City Soundtrack Tour is happening all of June and most of July. So come on out if you live in the U.S. near a major city. We'll probably be there.
Excellent. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. You matter. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show?